Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the From the Banking YouTube and TikTok. How are we all doing? So, From the Banking podcast is very, very quickly coming up onto episode 20. That will be the one that is released next Saturday. Today, we're sitting at the 9th of May. So, next Saturday, which will be the 16th, will be episode 20. And I just wanted to give everyone on YouTube and TikTok and possibly Facebook and Instagram just a quick rundown of where we're at and what we've been talking about so far. So, our first podcast went live on the 3rd of January 2026. It was titled Happy New Year, our first official motorsport podcast, and it went live across all the platforms. So, that was Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and at this point, it was not on YouTube. We kept it back a few weeks before we went live on YouTube. And we started doing lives on YouTube, and then we started releasing the podcast to YouTube. And that all came about because of episode 5, which I will get to in a quick wee minute. So every single week since the 3rd of January, we have released a podcast of some sort. I'm not saying every single one of them was brilliant. There have been some absolutely phenomenal ones, but I'm not saying every single one of them was brilliant. So the second one that went out was on the 10th of January, and that was a podcast all about our experiences and different things, marshalling, going to racing, and all that kind of stuff. And the title of that one was It Was On Its Roof. Now, the analytics for that one are phenomenal. I think it's because of the title, and it just intrigued people and brought them in. But I've tried to keep away from that after that. I don't want to draw people in under like clickbait and false advertising and all that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm here. That's not what I'm here for. It's not what From the Banking's here for. We're just here to get across our experiences and any experts that we can. Brilliant, superb. So the third one after that was on January the 16th, and that was all about merchandise prices and availability. Now, we didn't actually get any merchandise sorted after this one. It was a great idea at the time, and everything seemed really, really, really positive. But when you look into the prices and how things work for that, it was getting a little bit too complicated. Now, we are going to be getting more merchandise. That's a given. It's just where we get it and how we get it and how we supply it. Do we put a store on the website? Do we just get samples, a bundle of samples for each of the hosts that we can hand out at different things? You've got to remember, guys, we make no money off these podcasts. Our YouTube viewers are not high enough that we can monetize the videos. So if anybody out there wants to share From the Banking, please do so. Please tell everyone to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Same on TikTok, all that kind of good stuff. Phenomenal. So after that, when we got to the 24th of January, where me, Aaron, and Amber were talking about our F1 predictions, we thought coming up towards the new Formula One season that we would talk about our predictions for Formula One. Excuse me. And this episode featured for the first time, but not for the last time, Formula Finn from TikTok. Formula Finn came on as a guest. Phenomenal guest. He's been on the podcast a couple of times now, and we've met him in person, things at Knockhill Racing Circuit and things like that. Top guy, very, very, very knowledgeable about the stuff he talks about. TikTok, amazing. So after that, we went to episode 5. Now, episode 5 was, sorry for saying this, Finn, but episode 5 was probably our first podcast with a superstar British touring car driver. Now, I have to thank Amber and Aaron for this because they did all the legwork for this. But in episode 5, we had our first big star interview was Mikey Doble. Now, if you don't know who Mikey Mikey Doble is currently a British touring car driver. He's driving for PMR, or Power Match Racing, and this is him again. He's racing again this year for PMR. And we had a great chat with him. If you haven't seen the video, it is there on YouTube. Go and have a quick look, or you can go through some of the podcast audios on Spotify and all that kind of stuff, and you will see it in there. So after that one, on January 31st, we hit into February, and we had another great guest on. This is what I wanted to get across, guys. We are a brand new podcast, and we have had some amazing guests on. How we managed to get them on, I have no idea. But we had Irish racing driver Kales Cole on episode 6. Now, Kales Cole is trying to get to F1 Academy. She's a phenomenal driver. She had that. She actually staged like what was it called again? Can't remember off the top of my head. I apologise, Kelsey, if you're watching this. But she organised a whole, it was like a Saturday. I think it was the race to G4, sorry, the race to Formula 4 or GB4 or the race to F1 Academy. I honestly, Kels, I apologise. I can't remember what it was called. I should have really looked before I started recording these two videos, but I apologise. The next one after that was at February 14th. So that went live on Valentine's Day. And I don't know how we managed to do it. Well, I don't know how Amber and Aaron managed to organise this, but we interviewed. This was the first one that I couldn't do, by the way, guys. This is the first one that I couldn't be on. Things that were happening. But anyway, they interviewed the voice of the BTCC. They interviewed the voice of ITV's coverage of the BTCC, as well as many other different events. I think he does and all that kind of stuff. But Aaron and Amber interviewed David Addison. What an interview. I think that was during the day because he was actually in Dubai at the time. He was commentating on something that was happening in Dubai and I was at work and that's why I couldn't be there. So that was episode 7. Now, after episode 7, we got into 2026 calendar predictions, but we kind of did it for SMRC and BTCC at the time. And that one went out on February the 21st. So as you can see here, guys, there's a repetition where it's every single Saturday we are releasing another podcast. We're currently up to number 19. We'll add this in here now. If you can watch it on YouTube, or there will be links and stuff in the TikTok channels and all the socials and stuff like that for you guys. Yes, so after the 2026 calendar predictions, we went on to episode 9, and that was our F1 predictions after testing. So after they'd done their testing at Barcelona, me, Aaron and Amber got together and we talked about our predictions for the year to come. That is a great wee video. If you go back and have a look at that one, you'll see how much we get wrong and how much we get right. Probably better at the end of the year once everything's done, but it'll give you an idea of where we're sitting at the moment. So after that, we went to episode 10. So halfway through where we are at the moment, that went out on March the 7th. And that was our SMRC calendar chat. We were talking about all the different things that happen with the SMRC and KMSC events. So that was things like the Legends, C1s, Fiestas, Mod Sports, Classics, all that kind of stuff. That's all in that video there. That was at episode 10. Episode 11 was just kind of a filler one because we were in between races and different things. So that was just random questions and general motorsport chat. That was another, again, guys, that was another good. They've all been really good, some better than others. And hopefully, if you've watched this from the start, you'll see how we get better, better, and better as the different episodes come out. The ones without me in it seem to be a lot better and funnier. But hey, that's another thing for another day. My podcast, I'm going to be on it. That's for you. So after that, we got to episode 12. So that was released on March 21st of this year. And it was what to expect if you're attending the British Grand Prix in 2026. So that was, I think that was myself on my own. I did that one. Aaron couldn't attend that one. Like I say, we can't all three of us can't always be on every single podcast. We have life, we have jobs, we have school, we have stuff like that. But whatever happens, we will always try and get a podcast out. So what to expect when attending the British GP in 26? That was me going over what to expect from a marshal's point of view, what to expect from a spectator's point of view, because I've done it both ways. I've done the Grand Prix both ways. Then after that, we get a little bit of an icon change. So you'll probably notice this if you watch on YouTube and if you listen to on Spotify, all of them are all the same. But when I got to episode 14, I changed the album art, if you get what I mean. But I did keep the theme. There is a theme to every single, not profile picture, but the album art for every podcast. There is an Easter egg in every single one. And if you know what the Easter egg is, you'll know what episode you're watching. That's for you guys on TikTok and that's for you guys on YouTube. Have a quick look. Just my wee thing. So we hit episode 14, that went live on April the 4th, and that was Dangerous Spectators and at prices cheap as chips. I'll let you go and listen to that one. We delve into what we deal with as marshals, things that came up in the conversation was Dangerous Spectators. It's mainly things like people with their kids hanging their legs over the edge and stuff like that, which they're not meant to do. After that, we got to April 11th, and that was F1 BTCC Scottish Bike Racing Championship news. That was the first one, I believe. We went live on YouTube, I think. Yes, went live on YouTube on episode 15, April 11th. Everything kind of came together and we went live on YouTube just for you guys. So you can see when we record it because it was live. What you will notice if you watch it live on YouTube, you will get a little bit more content than if you're watching it on the release, because on the release, it's edited, bad words are hopefully edited out. Any pauses and we try and get as many ums and ahs out of it and gaps and stuff. So a 1 hour, 20-minute video that you've seen live on YouTube, by the time it gets to release, maybe it'll only be 1 hour 50 minutes a wee bit, comes out and we can take some things out. And also sometimes the guests will ask us to take certain bits out. And we got to April 18th. In fact, that was just me and Aaron on that one. In fact, it was me and Aaron on Dangerous Spectators, me and Aaron on BTCC Scottish Bike Championship. And April 18th, we had Amber back and we had the full trio, and it was all about race week. That was our race week start. That was the first weekend car racing up at Knockhill for the 2026 season. That was a really, really, really good day. The week after that, episode 17, which went live on April 25th, it was all about Scottish Championship car racing from a marshal's perspective. Again, that was all three of us. That was really, really, really good. And yeah, really, really, really enjoyed recording that one. Again, all these ones that I've talked about before, guys, are all listed on YouTube, and they're all in Spotify or Amazon Music or Apple Podcasts. In fact, any podcast that you listen to, I'll give you a rundown at the end of what we actually broadcast to, where RSS puts our podcast, and I'll give you a rundown of that at the end, so stay tuned for that one. Then last week was episode 18. This was one I couldn't do because I've been having major issues with my internet connection at home. The Virgin Media have now been out, hence I am able to do this. And because I'm using the computer for some things and I'm using my phone for the TikTok thing. But yeah, so last week they spoke to Chris Toretto. Now, Chris Toretto is the creator and writer of the first ever BTCC movie. It's kind of like the Formula One movie for British touring cars. And I edited it anyway because I edit all the videos. I'm watching it from the edit. This is going to be a spectacular film. Similar to the Formula One film, where it's bringing you into the BTCC, but in a lot more depth and a lot more different things and how people get from Carlton to that kind of stuff. And Chris Toretto was a fantastic guest. I think the two guys had an absolute ball with him. And I had an absolute ball editing it as well. It was so funny. So many things I had to take out. I think his producer that was sitting at the side of him, I think he might have got in a bit of trouble for that one. But we took it out. The stuff that we were asked to take out, we took out. We'll always do that. And I don't think it's gone live yet. Looking at the time, no, it hasn't went live yet. Tonight's episode, which is episode 19, going live tonight, 6:30. So this might be out on TikTok and that before. YouTube might be out before it. I'm not 100% sure. But Amber and Aaron interviewed Keltec Racing's Liam Kelso. So Liam last year, for a few years, has been racing in the C1 Cup at Knockhill. This year, I would say, he's upgraded to minis and he's driving all over the country for the team. And they got to sit down and they had a chat with him. It was a really good fun editing that one again today. So that's where we're at. We're at episode 19. There is a second reason for making this video. And the second reason is next weekend, the episode that goes live will be episode 20. And that means that me, Amber, and Aaron have managed to release a podcast every single week, whether it be one of us, two of us, whatever, three of us. We are going to have a small break for a few weeks. So season 1 for the podcast is going to run from episode 1 to episode 20. Season 2 is going to run from episode 21 through to episode 40. So we're going to take a couple of weeks off from doing podcasts, or we're going to still record the podcast as normal, but we're going to hold it back for a couple, just in case, because we're coming up to the summer now and people have holidays and stuff coming up. I've got me and Amber and Chris, who you've probably seen on some of the videos. We are going down to Silverstone for the Grand Prix. So that's going to be probably another week that we can't record something. So it's to give us a little bit of a buffer. So I just wanted to let everybody know that episode 20 next week will be the last episode for a few weeks. And then we will be back as strong as ever, hopefully with some really great content. Speaking of content, all of us, all the hosts on the From the Banking podcast have their own TikTok channels, Facebook and Instagram. I am that Marshall fella across all the platforms. Amber on TikTok is Amber in Orange. I believe on Instagram, it's Aeon Amber, I believe. And Aaron is on TikTok as the Cadet Marshal. And honest, I don't know if he wants to put stuff from the banking on his Facebook and his Instagram, so I'm going to leave that off just now. But yeah, we are on the socials on TikTok on here. We are on YouTube on here as Collective and from the banking. But yeah, that was the whole purpose of the video, just to give you a rundown of where we're at so far, where we're going forward with the podcast. Where do we want to be? We want to be getting paid. That's what we want. We want to be getting paid for doing the podcast, whether that be sponsorship from some teams, the ship from microphone suppliers. I don't know. We need to figure it out. Get some income from merchandise and stuff. But again, this is all stuff. We're not millionaires. In fact, I'm broke. I'm always broke. I've got 3 kids and a grandkid. I mean, we are trying to do this without it costing us any money. It has cost me a bit of money, but hey, we'll get it back eventually. Oh, yes, I was going to give you a rundown of where this podcast goes out to. So, this podcast, so you guys on TikTok, you'll get this as well. This is for the YouTube guys as well. So, the major directories, the automatic submissions that we get as a podcast is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Listen Notes, and the RSS community. Now, there is other automatic listings, and these are additional apps. But we also go live on the following: Castamatic, Castbox, Castro, CurioCaster, Overcast, Pocket Casts, Pocket Addict, Podcast Addict, Podcast Guru, PodLP, and Podverse. Now, there is other ones that we go out on. These are guided submissions. So I've filled in all the things I need to. So these goes out to them as well. Excuse me. We're on Deezer, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and TuneIn. But yeah, that's where we're at, guys. I'm going to leave it at that. It's been a 23-minute TikTok. I apologize, everybody on TikTok. This is going to go out on the from the banking TikTok. I think it's not going to be one for my own That Marshall fella, and it's going to go onto YouTube, and it'll probably be on YouTube before tonight's episode gets released. It's down for release at 6:15. For now, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much if you're already a subscriber. Thank you very much if you're already downloading this on all the different apps. Phenomenal. The, the audience is growing on a weekly basis. The listeners are growing on a weekly basis. I can't ask any more of these guys. It's absolutely phenomenal. Well, I can. The only thing I can ask is, can you share? Can you like? Can you comment? Tell as many people as you can about From the Banking. It would be fantastic if you could. I'm definitely now going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and I will catch up with you next Saturday because I'm not on the podcast, but I now have internet, as you can probably see, lovely YouTube people and TikTok people, because I'm managing to use Riverside. And if you don't know what that is, use your phone, give it a scan. Might be interesting. Have a nice time, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next Saturday. See ya.